A lot of the frets are very badly worn. Even the good ones are probably only half of their original height. They've no doubt been leveled and redressed a couple times over the decades. So I suggested to the owner that it might be time to refret the instrument, and he agreed. So before I start working on the finish, I'm gonna refret. Okay, I've got all the frets out. Before I re-level the fretboard by sanding it, I'm going to replace this missing piece of binding at the end of the fretboard. I've got some old yellowed binding that pretty closely matches the color, and I can always touch it up a little bit after a while, but this is, I've cut it to fit, and I'm going to glue it on there. I've got just a chunk of wood. It goes right up to the bottom edge of the fretboard, so I can use that as my depth stop for this piece. So I'll get that glued on, and then once the glue dries, level it off and level the rest of the fretboard and put the new frets in using medium viscosity super glue. Which doesn't give me a whole lot of time to play around with the position, but it was pretty well fixed anyway. So not a whole lot to worry about. Okay, now I'll just hold this for a few minutes till the glue sets up. Well, I've got all the frets out and sanded the board level, but I am unable to remove some of these really deep finger dents. If I tried to sand down that far, I would sand away the inlays, which would really be not anything anyone wanted to see. So I've got it level at least where all of the fret slots are. So even though there are some depressions like between fret slots just from decades of fingernails digging into the relatively soft rosewood, that's just going to have to be good enough, because I can, like on this one, I'm just starting to see a little hint that maybe I'm getting pretty thin in the pearl, and I don't want to break it out anywhere or break through it anywhere. So that's as good as it's going to get, and now I'll proceed to put the new frets in. So now I'm cutting the new fret wire, and because this is a bound fretboard, I need to trim the ends of the fret tangs, because I don't want the fret tangs poking through the binding. So after I cut it to the length I'm looking for, I nip off the end of the tang. Let's see if that shows. So nip that off on both ends, and then figure out which slot it fits in the best. And it looks like this will go into number 6 pretty nicely. I want the nipped part of the tang to be just inside of the binding on both sides. So I've got quite a few of them cut. I'll keep cutting, and then once I get all 19 cut, I will put them into the fretboard. I've got all my frets cut and trimmed, and so now it's time to put them into the fretboard.